DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is do not be. Actually, no, that's not the topic. Today's topic is we are picking up. I was starting to read my points, but actually, we're picking up on our series of things that your older self would actually tell your younger self. So before we get into that, I'll remind you all of a couple things. First of all, my daily motivation, Monday motivation messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day or your week, respectively. When we start sending those out again, you're going to want to be getting those. So just joining my texting community. It is free to join. Text me at the number 305-384-6894. Numbers down below in the description. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where I do all my coaching. If you would like to have me as your direct coach when it comes to building up your business, building up your mindset, coming up with a clear strategy for what you're going to do, moving yourself forward, a system for doing it over and over again, and to be held accountable to make sure that it gets done for proper implementation, all for the purpose of performance and producing results, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is down in the description to this episode as well. Again, it's workonyourgameuniversity.com. You are serious about getting to your goals right now. I'm not talking about it's cool if you get there later, but you want to get there now. Workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link down below. All that out the way. Let's get into the topic here today. Again, which is picking up on our series, which is things that your older self would tell your younger self, meaning yourself today. What things your older self would tell your younger self as advice, or things your older self will wish in the future is going to wish that you did now, but you're not doing them right now. So I'm basically jumping to the future and telling you things you should start doing immediately. So we're picking up on point number 7 here because we did the first 6 points in the previous 2 episodes. So point number 7, don't be a one-man show. And man, by man, I mean humans. Using other people and letting yourself be used is a good thing. So those of you who are doing everything on your own, stop doing everything on your own. Because first of all, we already know you ain't good at everything. So everything that you're doing, you're probably doing some of those things at a half-assed or mediocre level, not because you're trying to be half-assed or mediocre, but simply because you are. You ain't good at everything. So if you're trying to do everything, it's guaranteed you're not doing everything at a high level because no human being is high level at everything. Therefore, if you're doing everything, I automatically know without even knowing exactly what you're doing that some of those things are being shortchanged because you're not that talented. Okay, you can and will achieve more through and with other people than you ever will doing everything by yourself. All right, this is just simple principle of humanity. There is no human on this planet that is that good to do everything on their own and do it all at a high level. You could technically do everything on your own, but you wouldn't be doing it at a high level. And again, there's nobody for whom this is an exception. So whoever you know who you think is really talented and really skilled and really good, or they are just super smart or super diligent and hardworking and they can figure out anything, whatever it is you want to say about them that makes you think that they would be an exception to this rule, they are not an exception to this rule. And if you will look at what they're doing, if you really knew what they were doing and looked at it, you will realize that they're not doing as much on their own as it seems that they are. Or the other thing is what the smartest people and highest level performing people do is the things that they do execute on well, they just do a whole lot of it, and those things produce a higher return on investment for them. So they just seem to be taking up a bigger piece of the pie because they're doing the things that matter the most, which is exactly what all of us should be doing. Okay. This includes not only your receiving, but also your giving. When I say don't be a one-man show, you want to make yourself very useful to other people. So using other people means get other people on your team, get into mastermind groups, talk with other people, get information and insights and knowledge and news from other people. Don't just try to be the source yourself or be the only way that you are getting insights and access and information, because again, nobody can do it all at once and do it all well. And this also means what you're giving out. So let yourself be used by other people. Make yourself useful to others. Be around other people who are useful to you. So you want to be in places where you can give, and you want to be in places where you can receive. Sometimes that's the same place, sometimes it's not. So you may have people in your life to whom every time you deal with them, you're the one giving because you tend to know stuff that they don't know. You've been places that they haven't been. That's completely fine. These people can be your customers or clients even. You also want to be in places where you are able to receive, where people know more than you. They've done things that you haven't done, and you can be a recipient. And again, sometimes there's a back and forth between people. Sometimes you need to go in different places to play different roles. Either way, you should be doing all of it. Okay, everybody got it? All of it. You want three different types of people in your life. You want people to whom you can be a teacher. You want people with whom you are a student, and you want people with whom you are exchanging, meaning you can teach some, you can learn some. You want and you're back and forth with those people, so they're pretty much on your same level, just maybe doing things a little different. People who are not where you're at quite yet, and you can teach them, and people who are above where you are, and they can teach you. You want people like that. You want people at all three levels in your life. So find these people, find these places. Again, you can help them, they can help you. This is why you want to continually be assessing your relationships and make sure you're around people who are on your level, doing better than you, and people to whom you can teach things. If you're an entrepreneur, these people should be your clients, your members, your customers. And you also need to be continually upgrading yourself, always making yourself better, so that number one, you can give more value to the people who you're teaching, and you expand the amount of people you can teach because you're getting better and not everybody's moving up as fast as you are. And as you move up in levels with your associations, you can also move up in levels in what you can offer to people, how you can be helped, and how you want to be helped, what you need actual help with. Because the things you needed help with 2 years ago, you may not need help with 2 years from now because you already took care of that problem. Now you got new problems, you got new issues that you need to deal with. Because people who you were able to help, again, as I said, a couple of years ago, that material may not be useful for the people who you are around rather today. So you may have leveled up from helping people. For example, I'll use myself here. There was a time when I would help people learn how to dribble and shoot a basketball. Nowadays, those people have learned that, and some of those same people who I was showing how to dribble and shoot a basketball 10 to 15 years ago now want to learn how to set up and run and optimize the marketing for their businesses because they're in a different space and I'm in a different space. And the good thing is I continue to upgrade myself. So now I'm in a position to help them with this thing. Whereas had I stayed in the place that I was in, I would no longer be in a position to help them with that thing. That doesn't necessarily mean the person who was teaching how to dribble and shoot 15 years ago and is still doing it now doesn't mean that they didn't do anything, doesn't mean they did something wrong because they can just pick up new audiences of people. But you just need to know where you want to go. What is your process and where do you want to move to? So you need to be getting better all the time. This continuous, never ending improvement, which is what Work on Your Game is all about. And you want to be generous and gracious when it comes to giving to others because the more you give out, the more you are setting yourself up to receive in return. This is just the law of the universe. What you put out comes back to you. Point number 8. Topic once again today is things that your older self will wish that it had told your younger self and wishes that the younger self was doing sooner. In other words, that means things you need to be doing right now. Your older self will thank you for it. Number 8, remembering that you will be an old person for more time than you will be a young person. So the recording and to plan accordingly with this understanding. So depending on the age that you are, I would bet many of you feel like you are a young person, and most of the people I know who are, I would say, under the age of 55. Most of the people I know who are 55 or under all tend to consider themselves to be relatively young. If I know anybody I know who's over the age of 55, maybe those people, maybe they look at themselves as, okay, I'm not as young as I used to be. And maybe some people in the 40 to 55 range may say that as well. But most of the people I know under 55 tend to look at themselves as relatively young. Understand that you're going to be an old person for more time than you are a young person. I don't necessarily mean in numbers, but the time seems to go by a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more slowly when you can't move as quickly when you're an older person and you want to plan for this. I've had many people who are, let's say, my parents' age or older. My parents are in their 60s. They tell me that they wish they had thought about their older years, their future years, when they were younger than they actually did. So, for example, I was talking to someone who was, I think the time I was talking to him, he was probably about maybe mid 60s, maybe 65 or so years old. And he said to me, hey, you know what, Dre, you're relatively young right now. And when he said this to me, I was probably in my early 30s. He said, you're relatively young right now. You need to think about what you're going to do when you get up to the age that I am now. Because when you get to this age, it may be too late to start thinking about it. You should have thought about it sooner. And that's the same thing that I'm telling you. And what he was talking about, he was talking about like his retirement, what's he going to do for retirement income and things like that. But there's plenty of things you need to think about when you're relatively young that you may not have the time, resources, or energy to do anything about by the time you get to your older years. So start thinking about this stuff right now. Look at the people who are older than you and ask yourself, okay, what situations do they have that I want to have taken care of so that I won't have to worry about them when I get to that age? Simple question any of you can ask yourself right now. And if you don't know, go ask someone who's your age, ask your parents or someone your parents' age, and they'll tell you. And again, it doesn't matter how old your parents are, because they're going to point out something that has to do with their current situation. Assuming your parents are 20 or 30 or 40 years older than you, there's something that they had to deal with right now that you don't have to deal with, and they'll tell you exactly what it is, and you need to start thinking about that thing right now, whatever it is. Okay, so you don't want to get to the point where you get to those older years and realize things that you put off and took for granted, and again, now you don't have the same resources to handle. So think about your old self. Thank your old self for this, and tell your younger self these things now, no matter what age you are. Again, you could be 20, 30, 40, 50. You will be an old person for longer than you'll be a young person, assuming that you live a long life. So plan for those older years, because in those older years, the energy is not as high, at least from what I've heard. You may not be as physically able, from what all of us can see, and the people who are older than us. You may not have as much opportunity as you have right now. And you want to set yourself up for those years being easier rather than being harder. Your later years should be easier than your early years. And we all know the same, that success is easy on the back end, but hard on the front end, which means right now, in the years in which you feel young, and most of you who are listening to this probably feel pretty young, you want to make things as hard as possible on you now so it's easy on you later. All right, that is your job. Set yourself up for those years being easy. And this, again, think about the different aspects of your life: relationships, family, financially, energetically, health wise, every other way. Look at the people in your life who are many generations older than you. Again, all of you can find someone. Ask yourself, what what would you do if you were their age right now? What do you want to have in place if you were their age right now? And what are you doing right now to set it up? It's a simple question you could be asking yourself all the time. Point number 9. Today's topic, once again, we are talking things that your older self will wish that your younger self had done sooner. Number 9, understand that solid communication skills will take you across the world. Solid, and even better than solid, like exceptional, communication skills will take you across the world. Poor communication skills, folks, will keep you trapped where you are. When your communication skills are weak, you will be trapped where you are, because you won't be able to move yourself forward, even if you are highly skilled. Communication is your ability to take what is in your head and get it out to other people. That's all communication means. Take what's in your head and get it out to somebody else. That can be done through the written word or the spoken word. And you can be sharing that to one person, or you can be sharing it to thousands. So you can send a written word to one person through, let's say, a text message or an email. And you can send a spoken word to another person through just a personal conversation, or personal conversation, or a FaceTime call, let's just say. And then when you're talking to multiple people, you can take a written message and you can put it as a blog post or an article and send it out to thousands and millions of people. And same thing with the spoken word. You can do that in front of an audience with a whole bunch of people in the room, or posting a video on social media and a couple thousand or tens of thousands of people see it. So your ability to communicate is only two forms: written and spoken, and is either to an individual or to a group. These skills will take you around the world if you have them. All right, the stronger your communication skills, the further you can go in your relationships, your careers, and your connections. Also, in your ability to deliver to other people in any way, personally or professionally. All right, you see how wide of a net communication skills cast? They can do a whole lot for you. If you are a poor communicator, it's going to be hard for you to get a promotion at work. You're a poor communicator, it's hard for you to get a date or to find a mate or a future spouse. If you're a poor communicator, it will be hard for you to let other people know what value you bring to the table. Therefore, it'll be impossible for other people to understand it. Therefore, it'll probably be pretty hard for them to understand why they should exchange their resources for your resource. In other words, to buy from you. If I can't explain to you why my stuff is valuable, you probably won't buy it, even if it's amazing. It could be the best stuff in the world, but if I can't tell you why it's valuable, then you won't be able to get it, and then you won't do anything. So I'm frustrated because I have all this value that I can't give out, and you're frustrated because you have a problem that can't be solved. It would be solved by my stuff, but since I'm a poor communicator at letting you know why and how I can solve your problem, you don't never see me as a solution, and therefore you still got to deal with the problem. So everybody loses when you're a poor communicator. Remember that communication skills, folks, these apply both in your personal life and your professional life. I just gave you a couple examples. And remember that communication skills are a force multiplier, and they are also future proof. Communication skills are a future-proof force multiplier. What that means is that no matter what changes in the future of humanity, communication skills will always be useful. They will never go out of style. And whatever other abilities you have in life, when you are a strong communicator, your communication skills only amplify those other abilities. If you're a great athlete, for example, and you're also a great communicator, then that only makes your athletic abilities even more visible, because your communication skills may get you opportunities that you otherwise couldn't get if you were a poor communicator, but still a great athlete. This is, I can tell you from personal experience. That's how I was able to get into what I got into as a pro athlete, being that I was coming from a level that doesn't really produce professional athletes, the NCAA Division III level. Because I was a solid communicator and I became an even better communicator as I went on, I was able to market and sell myself into opportunities as an athlete that I wasn't able to play myself into. Just playing alone was not enough to get me into the pros, and my communication skills combined with my playing ability. There is a baseline ability you got to be able to be eligible to be a pro athlete. I was at the baseline, but I wasn't that high above it that playing alone would be enough. So I had to add the communication skills in to make it work. And because I had them, I was able to make it work. And because I had them, I was able to take what I knew as an athlete and turn it into basically allow it to expand, basically brand extend my athletic skills into other things, which became uh, my content, which became products that I created, which became services and became a brand. It became this business, and one of the manifestations of it is this very masterclass that you are consuming right now. So communication skills will take you everywhere when you have them. Like, you don't have them, they'll keep you in the same spot. So these are always useful all the time, no matter where you go. And as long as we have human beings, communication skills will be of the utmost importance. Now, if we all get erased and replaced by AI, then what I just said goes out the window. But as long as humans are around, communication skills will matter. All right, when your communication skills suck, by the way, it will keep you stuck in the same place for a long time, even if you are highly skilled. And any of you been in a situation where you felt like you were highly skilled, yet you were unable to kind of crack the code or break through? And one of the reasons may be your poor communication ability, your inability to build relationships, inability to make connections, your inability to sell yourself and let people know that you have what they need will hold you back even when you have it, because you simply can't let people know you got it. They can't get the point. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is we're on the next installment of our series here, things that your older self or wish that your younger self had done sooner. Again, this is part 3 of this series. Number 7, don't be a one-man show. Use other people, let other people use you. This is the value of connections to human beings. Number 8, you'll be an old person for more time than you will be a young person. So keep this in mind and plan accordingly for your future while you still have the resources to do so, because you won't have the same resources in the future that you have now, especially physically. Number 9, solid communication skills will take you across the world. If you are a great communicator, get better. If you are a poor communicator, get better. If you're an average communicator, get better. Communication skills are future proof. They will always be useful, so these will never go out of style. And they are a force multiplier, meaning the better you are communicating, the better it helps you do everything else that you do. They never take away from you to always make things better when you're a great communicator. So always get better at it. All that said, tomorrow we'll pick up the next part of this, what's going to be a 7-part series. Text me, see you in my community. Numbers down below in the description. And Work on Your Game University. If you want to have me as your direct coach, work with me directly, get access to all of our trainings, all of our programs, and have me as your direct coach on your mindset, your strategy, your systems, and your accountability for performance implementation, consistency, and producing results, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all